Hello, 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 guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Mortgage Mavericks podcast. And today we got another frequent flyer. We got the wonderful James Cox on the show. James, it's so good to have you back on. We just
It's
literally,
great to be, yeah,
yeah,
it's great to be back, mate. It's great to be back on. It's been a while.
yeah, it's about a year. You were saying just before, weren't you? You just say we were just chatting. We've literally spoken for about 2 minutes and then said,
Two
stop.
minutes,
Let's just jump on here and just have
just
a
record it.
conversation.
Yeah.
So it's like a
Yeah,
year
it
ago.
was, yeah, it was like March, April, right? I think we
Yeah,
decided on.
yeah.
Although it seems like it was like 2 months ago. So yeah, 2020 flew by, absolutely flew by. And yeah, it's been a bit of a mad one. Lots of things have happened, lots of doors have opened, everything from social media growth, business growth, luckily. That's why we're doing it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then even to being invited down to the headquarters of Perenna and interviewing one of the co-founders, which
Saw that
was,
video. That was really good. I really liked those. The series,
yeah,
a small series of clips and stuff, and they were really good. Yeah.
surreal experience, to be honest, pretty surreal. Because obviously I got invited to go there.
Mm.
And I've gone down there, obviously, not really like a fish out of water, but they're treating me as if I'm the expert. So I faked it till I made it. I really did on that, because I went down there and all of their trust was in me, really, in terms of the setup, how the day was going to go, what sort of questions we're going to answer, how it's going to be edited, the whole shebang. It was a bit of a steep learning curve, but I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Those are great. Those moments, and I have them regularly. I'm sure you do yourself, where you literally do
Yeah.
have that, where you think everyone's looking at you, going, "You have the answers," and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I love that, especially like you say with what you do, because you're so slick online. Like I've been following a lot of your content since we last spoke,
Yeah.
and it is just yours is one of those pieces of content that is genuinely just enjoyable to watch. Like it's a good watch, which is really rare. In fact, it's so unique in the mortgage industry. I know it probably takes, we'll talk about this today, but it takes a lot of effort,
Yeah.
but it takes a lot more effort than the average person I think would realize to put, because
Yeah.
I know how to make content. So when I watch your videos, I'm like, bloody hell. It took you a long time to do that 40-second video, but
Yeah.
it really is amazing. And when we first spoke, you were really very much at the beginning of it. You'd just
Oh,
kind of
right,
moved
right.
into
Like, yeah.
mortgages, where you'd
Yeah.
come from
Like brand
insurance and
new.
yeah.
Yeah, brand new. So just a quick recap for those that didn't watch the first one. I started in 2018 in this industry, but really protection only, really, right up until 2021. And it was late 2021, I got my CMAP qualification. But then in 2022, we had our first baby, we got engaged, just lots of different things going on. I took some time off gave myself a little bit of maternity leave, I guess. And I'm not sure actually even you knew this, but up until June last year, so June 2023, I'd actually always had a little part-time job in the background.
Didn't know that. Didn't know that. No.
Yeah, so it was only really till May, June last year, 2023, that I went proper.
I didn't realize that
all
you'd.
in on
I
this.
didn't realize you'd been in it that long.
Yeah.
But as in, I did, but I didn't realize. Because when we spoke, it was quite clear what you were getting across was. It's like now. Like I am just
Yeah.
starting in the last, like in
I,
the months. It's in now.
I made a promise to myself at the start of 2023 that this is what I want to do. I want to do well at this. I identified the fact that there's a lot more that I could do to be more successful. So I made a promise at the start of 2023, I'm now going to go all in on this.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and grow my social media. I'm going to try and grow my lead generation. I'm going to be better at my job. I'm going to be more efficient at my job. And I want to turn this into a business, a successful business. I want to see what doors open. And I'm very much, as far as I'm concerned, I'm still at the start of that journey.
That makes sense.
2023 was a great year for me, thank God. And a lot of those things did pay off. But I'm still very much at the start. I still have tons to learn. I still have tons of development. And I'm only on the first step I want to get to. But yeah, I always had the part-time job in the background. And really, it was a bit of a safety net thing for me. Although the irony is, since I left that part-time position in, like I said, May or June last year, my revenue increased so much. So as much as I thought it was a safety net, it was actually holding me back the whole time.
Yeah. That's quite common as well, though, isn't it? That we don't
I think
realize
so.
till afterwards, and then we
Yeah.
realize when you like. I'm mentoring a guy called Louis Adkins, and some of you, if you're on LinkedIn, he's really making waves on LinkedIn. He's a wonderful guy, but he's at uni. and he's doing mortgage marketing, but he's also doing uni, and he's doing like geography or something. And I keep saying to him, I was like, when you leave uni, honestly, like it'll just everything will change, because you're two different directions. But that, as I agree with you on that, it's very hard. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, but it's very hard to know that at the time. It doesn't shock me with you. One thing I would say about you, well, when we first met, that was not the first time we'd really met.
It was.
And I think actually you reached out to me and said, can I come on the show? It was like that. It was like, because I'd not really heard of you, and it was really, and I'm very glad you did, because after that I was like I said to you, I've been hooked on your content. But one thing I've been watching, and I couldn't believe it's only been a year because it's good, is you stuck it out. Like you really have stuck it out. And I'm going to hear about the growth and where you've gone with it. I know you just alluding about TikTok and stuff, but the reality is you're creating high quality pieces of content. You're making it very entertaining, which is very hard. You're getting your personality across, which is unheard of. And I had lots of people, once you went on my podcast, I had people who I know reaching out to me going, I've just been following this guy after your show, and he is really good. And I said, I was like, he is. My test is whether or not he's going to still be here in a year's time. What he's doing is hard.
Yeah.
And you're here, and it's massive. And so I want to hear what the results are, because as in how it's been for you, because it's already a win that you even got this far, because what you're doing is like there's no one else doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Funnily enough, after our last podcast, our first podcast, I think I did, specifically on Instagram, I think I had 10, 15 mortgage advisors follow me like straight away. And I knew that it'd come from that. So that was great. So TikTok's where I've had my sort of main growth. And I just think purely my style of content is just suited for TikTok, that sort of audience. And in all fairness, my target audience is first-time buyers. So I want to directly talk to 45-year-olds, 25 to 40-year-olds. That is who I want to talk to. So it does work perfectly well. On our last podcast, I think I had 215 followers.
On
so
TikTok.
I was like you said, brand new on TikTok. Sorry, I was brand new. We're now at 17,500 on TikTok.
That's very impressive. And that's very impressive to give. Just to give context for people on that, and maybe yourself, you probably will know this, but to achieve 17,500, because I've got 17,500 followers on my TikTok. I had 17,500 followers on my TikTok 3 years ago, and I have 17,500 followers on my TikTok now. And why I'm saying that is TikTok is really hard to grow now compared to where it was. Like you'll hear a lot of people and you see, and the shout out to these guys, I love them. Glenn Russell, like the Glenn Russell Property, love Glenn, Joe Bartlett, Home Buyer Coach, all those guys. But and me and Glenn talk about it I have spoke about it off air and on air actually. It was about being in the right time when TikTok was really blowing, really going up. Yeah. Now to achieve 17,500 followers on TikTok in that last 12 months is a very impressive feat. That is like a YouTube channel level type stuff. That's very impressive. So 17,500 is probably about like 150,000 in 2021 years. Like that's what I would say. It's about that equivalent for people to understand the level in which that is. It's very impressive.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I very much, I hope that I can get that. My plan is to get to sort of 30,000-40,000 by end of this year. So
easy. You'll smash it.
Yeah, I think so. At the moment, I'm growing because I check the numbers, I don't know, every other day, just to keep track.
20 minutes.
I'm checking them. I'm actually checking them now as we're speaking. But actually, as much as obviously, luckily the growth has been net positive, there's so many that dropped off. So over those 17,500, I probably have actually had about 25,000 people follow me if they'd all stayed on. But anyway,
that's a common thing that people don't see that. Well, that's what my friends he's got about 950,000 subscribers on YouTube, and everyone always keeps going. He's done it for 8 years, and everyone always says, "Oh, when you hit that million," I am way past the million subscribers.
Way past.
He said, if I look at it, he said, I'm like 1.4 million. He said, he said, but I have lost that many over the years that it's trying to get them over. So I get what you mean.
But at the moment, I'm probably growing about 500 followers every 10, 11, 12 days. And that's without any, because I've based that on this year. So at the start, literally, I checked it New Year's Eve, right? And I was 16.9. I was like, I wonder if I can wake up on 17,000. That'd be a great way to start the year. Woke up 17,000. Perfect. And now obviously I'm 17 and a half, and I'm actually getting close to that 17.6. So I'm growing about 500 every 10, 11, 12 days. And that's without any sort of video significantly popping so far
Yeah.
this year.
Oh wow, so
My
you've had
vid
no like big, that's just consistent.
that is just, and actually I've not posted that consistency this year so far
Okay.
for various different reasons. My little girl's been poorly, and my attention's quite clearly been with her rather than on TikTok. So I've actually only posted probably 3, at the very most 4 times per week. I've only posted twice this week.
Oh well.
Whereas normally I do 5 times a week. Monday to Friday, I post every single day. And then I may do a couple of sort of stories over the weekends. But weekends for me currently, I'm still able to put a little bit of time, put those days in time with my family. So that's where they're going. So yeah, that's about any really banging. If we can get a couple, to put it into context, you get a video that pops. So I'm talking anything from 500,000 views onwards. That can gain you 4, 5, 6,000 followers in 2, 3 days.
Yeah.
So you need a couple of those to pop throughout the year, as well as just that natural growth.
I think, and with the way that you are as well, like your humor that comes across in your content is just brilliant. I think you'll probably get that quite easily. Are you doing any lives? Are you doing any TikTok lives or anything like that?
So funny you asked. So I did my very first one Monday evening, so 3 days ago, with John Savage, who is a estate agent.
Yeah.
So that was based on our predictions, well, my predictions for mortgage interest rates in 2024, and his predictions on house prices for 2024. We're going to start doing those probably once a month, obviously do different topics and then open Q&As. I am going to do some slightly different content this year.
Yeah.
So it will still be very much the same in terms of getting my personality across, in being a little bit cheeky here and there, and hopefully putting out some valuable content on top of that, and helping people make informed decisions. But I'm going to try more this year to, I'm not sure I spoke to you about this before, but something I heard was you need to become a 5-minute celebrity. Did we talk about this?
No, I don't think we spoke about that.
Okay. So by 5-minute celebrity, what I mean is within a 5-minute radius of where you live.
Oh, so 5 miles, 5 mile famous.
Same thing. Yeah, same thing, same concept. So within a 5-mile radius of
But
where
you're
you
talking
live.
about digital as opposed to.
Yeah, so people should know your work. So I will do that on a local basis, but in terms of, I'm going to try and work with or do videos with local businesses.
Yeah, smart, really. So that is actually, we have spoke about that, but I didn't know. Yeah, we had. So that is like, I say to people to do that all the time. So I think that is that was a tail end of my 2023. I was saying to people, like, podcasting and interviewing local businesses and collaborating with local businesses is by far the biggest thing that's underutilized. The problem we're going to have is by this time next year, and you'll be on, I'm sure, again, we'll do an update, and every bloody person will be doing it. And we'll be like, but it is a really good move to do that, because that gets you. We did it with a client a couple of years ago. A client wanted to land introducers and wanted estate agents, and they were in Yorkshire, and we just set up a podcast called it the Yorkshire Property Podcast. It doesn't even exist anymore. So it's like it was on like one of those free ones where it disappears every 90 days and stuff. And it was we landed every introducer literally over a year period, because people like that. They connect with them. So it's such a smart, you'll crush that.
Yeah, I hope so. And there are 1 or 2, I'm in Swindon, and there are 1 or 2 businesses in Swindon. One specifically actually is a clothing shop, independent clothing shop. And I personally have shopped there myself for literally years, nearly 20 years, 2 decades. And so I'm pretty friendly with the owner. And they've absolutely smashed it on TikTok. So
really?
Yeah, they were quite similar. I think it was 2 years ago. It was like, we're just gonna post 3 times a day on TikTok for this entire year and just see where it gets us. They went from a brand new account to 250,000 followers by end of the year.
Yeah, it doesn't show.
Just crazy numbers. And
if you hit that consistency, that's Glenn Russell's thing. He was like 3 to 5 a day. That was what, and I've done that before, but it's hard. Like, I remember batching out stupid. I remember doing it once. I've never done it again. I had no clients all day. It was one of those rare days where I was like, oh, I've got nothing in today. I'm going to make 3, I was 5 actually, 5 shorts a day, like reels, TikTok, a day. But I'm going to do as many as I can. And I just kept going, and I did hundreds and hundreds of them. And I remember coming out of that evening and being like, oh, I couldn't even, literally couldn't even function. And I'm thinking, this is stupid. This is hard. Do yours. Yours
No,
will be
I
too.
have. Yeah, I was about to say, I've not found a way yet of being able to do that with my style of content.
Yeah.
Because as much as I never script my videos ever, because how am I meant to come across authentic and put my personality across if it's scripted, even if I'm writing it myself? But I plan a video. I would bullet point. I'd write down key notes that obviously I want to put the information into the video itself. Depending on the topic. So I'll give you a quick example.
Yeah.
I recorded a video just before this podcast, but the video was an update on the current best 5-year fixed rates and the current best 2-year fixed rates. Now, those videos are super quick and easy because obviously I can search that, gives me the figures straight away, and then I can quite literally just sit down and say, introduce myself, this is what video is going to be on, give the rates, bosh, bing, bang, bosh. They're super quick and easy to do. But from sourcing it to finishing filming it, that's still an hour, and then I have to edit that on top. So that's another 30 minutes because I'll put the physical numbers on the screen as I'm saying them as well.
It takes forever, that as well.
Yeah,
if you're doing that on your phone as well, are you doing it on?
Yeah, it's on my phone. Yes, on my phone.
Super, like fiddly and and then when you're trying to get them to match up to the right time, it is hard. Like that.
You're giving me anxiety. I've got to do it after this. You're giving me anxiety about it.
Mate, you're giving me anxiety that you still do that. Like I used to do that, but then I was going to ask you about yours. So how long does it take for you to make one of your more
normal videos?
The normal videos, but the ones where I love where you like tickle the follow button. I love that, the tickle the follow button. But how long does that take?
Ironically, because I've just said the interest rate ones are super quick and easy.
You said quick and easy, and they're an hour and a half. So that's not
quick and easy. But in terms of the actual filming and editing, my normal content's quicker than the interest rate ones.
Really?
Because the editing of the interest rate ones is so long and messy, it honestly it like doubles the time. However, obviously with my normal videos, there's a bit more planning that goes into it, whether I'll be talking about a specific topic or whether I'm answering someone's question about affordability. I spend 5 minutes before each video trying to find what I'm going to use for a microphone, to be honest.
That's what I was going to ask. That must be, how do you not run out of ideas? Because I'm always bringing.
I do run out of ideas. You'll notice a lot of my recent videos, I'm just holding this mic.
I was going to say, because that's the thing. And this is what I said I loved about your content was so what I've thought about your content is my kind of review of it is it's quite, you've done things that are really subtle. So the microphone thing is really clever because it makes me, every time I see you, the thing I'm thinking of, I don't give a shit about what you're saying but I don't, because I'm no mortgages, but I also think that's a really good thing, because if I don't care, your ideal client isn't going to care either, because with mortgages, they might not be ready yet. But you're making me intrigued on other things. And those other things are really, with you, it's what are you going to say that is some sort of innuendo, some sort of pun, something that is definitely inappropriate. Like I'm thinking what's going to come out. And also, and then the other thing is, what the hell are you going to use as a microphone? And those are the two. And then I'm always waiting for the tickle the follow button at the end. I'm just, and I'll stay. And that's a clever thing. I'll stay. If you're at the end, I'll stay until I hear you say that. Even if I'm swiping through, I'll be like, oh, I got it, because there's an element of you built habit of what is he doing, and it's like a checklist. And I find that they're just really funny. They remind me of, and there's a guy that is here in the fitness thing, and I don't really. There's this Irish guy that comes up on about fitness content, and he's got a similar type of content where he calls himself the Beast and makes your mum jokes. I don't know if you've ever seen him.
Oh yeah, I know who you're on about.
I don't like him or dislike him, but I see him, I'm always going, what is this guy going to do? And I have to, and it reminds me of a similar thing where I'm like, you've got he has elements in his video. Always says, and I'm always waiting for where is the bit when he makes a joke about your mum. I'm always waiting for it, and it's a similar kind of thing with yours, even though it's not.
I think you're absolutely right, because a lot of people, I've not actually said it in a while, but I used to always say, I'm glad you asked, and I can post time because I'm about to tell you. And it's sort of become like my punchline. The amount of people who message me just saying, oh, I'm glad you asked, I'm about to tell you. They message me my punchline because they love it. And with a microphone, one of the first things they say is, oh mate, we always watch because we want to see what we can use as a microphone. So I do get a lot. You
got to get back to that. You can't just keep it on your thing, because it's just reuse old stuff.
I know. Hey, look, I used to use the cat. I use cactus all the time, but the thing's 2.5 meters now.
You're
I
literally
can't.
like this.
I honestly, my arm's not long enough. I was going to use it the other day, but it's absolutely massive.
I'm
I'm
going
gonna
to
have to
clip that a
find.
little bit then now. That's going to be my one little clip. I love that.
Yeah, and I've gone through all the Teletubbies as well, so we've
Yeah.
used them. I've gone through the Toy Story toys. We can regurgitate. They're new viewers. They may not have seen it. They may not have seen it. So we can.
So how long does it take then to film those?
Oh yeah, sorry, that was the main
That's
question.
what we just completely went off topic.
So, how long does it take? Again, depending on the topic, I'll do some research just to make sure that everything I'm saying is absolutely bang on in regards to current. So that can take 5, 10, 15 minutes. I'll put them down in bullet points, do my little setup. Takes 5 minutes to set everything up, 5 minutes to find a microphone. And then depending on how good I'm feeling that day, I can shoot everything in one take, or sometimes you just feel like you can't even remember your own name or speak. So those days take a little bit longer.
Oh, so you shoot them all in one chunk? You do it all in one?
No, I don't. I'll probably record. So typically I record 2 videos on a Monday.
Yeah.
Depending on, it all depends on how much time I've got. 1 video on a Tuesday, and then maybe 1 or 2 on a Thursday, maybe 1 on a Friday. And then if I have recorded that many in a week, typically then I've already got Monday and Tuesday already sorted. So then I don't have to worry too much about recording 6, 7 videos that week. I can just do it that way. But the whole process from start to finish, again, probably an hour and a half, to be honest.
Yeah.
It does differ, like mentioned, on what I'm talking about and how much editing needs to go into something, but typically an hour and a half per video, I'd say. So yeah, I certainly can't churn out 3, 4, 5 a day. Not a chance.
No, mate, that would be impossible. And how have you found it? Has it started to translate into, oh, I'm sure it has, but translate into business and where, because when we last spoke right at the beginning, you were like, I remember you literally saying, and I think you said it on the show, it's early days and I'm just going to hold out because I think it will. So what's been the kind of outcome a year later?
Yeah, one of the most, you get tons of questions, tons of DMs.
Oh yeah, I get that still, and it doesn't equate to it. People, I get DM, even with me. Like my wife made a joke. She didn't realize. So she said, "You don't ever answer your messages." And I said, "I answered them half an hour ago." She was like, "You've got that many," and I said, and this is going to be, you guys listen to this. I love you all, but I get fielded some of the most random questions from brokers, and I'm in a very niche industry. So when you're in yours, you're going to get loads, but tons. Not everybody who asks me a question isn't a lead.
Yeah. I wish. Jesus Christ. One of the most obvious things that I did, which actually made a really big difference, was I set up a Calendly address book and put my Calendly link on my bio. And then every now and then I'll either say it in the video or it will be in the text in the description of the video, which will be follow my link in the bio to book an appointment or whatever it may be. But that helps to sieve out just questions, DMs to people who are a little bit more serious. So I'd say that I'd probably get, again, we're still very early days, but I'd say I'd get 3, 4, 5 people a week book through Calendly. Now, they don't all turn into clients because even though they've gone to the effort of doing that, I'd say even as high as 50% of those people still just want to fire a load of questions at me because they're not quite ready yet. So they want to know how we best get prepared. They're like 6 months away, or 12 months away, or even 2 years away from being in a position to actually be able to work with me. And then the other 50% on top of that, genuine inquiries.
That is TikTok's always it's not a problem because I wouldn't say it's a problem, but that is the challenge that every TikTok person has. Like that all the people that I've mentioned in this who I've spoken to, that is the same issue. Because the problem with TikTok is when it goes so broad like that, and the nature of it is that you are attracting, and I don't think it's the wrong person, because it's not. But you're attracting people much earlier on in the process.
Much earlier on.
Way earlier on, which is great. Except it's why Joe Bartlett, the home buyer coach, he ended up creating like a book, like a little guide for first-time buyer guide that people could buy. And it was like a checklist and stuff, because he was like, they just physically weren't ready. And the problem you do find, and we found with us, I know with some of the clients that I've worked with on TikTok who did well, we had to, in the end, put a fee on the, like, so like when you're doing Calendly now, you can set Calendly to have a Stripe integration, and it would be like a consultation fee, of which
Yeah.
if they went ahead and proceeded with mortgage, we'd knock that off the fee. But it was the only way we could really sieve out
Live out.
that was what we found. But you have to get to the point where I don't know if you're there yet or not. You have to get to the point where it's too much to be able to deal with. Because right now, and it might not be for you, it might be, but there's a point where speaking to people is what you need. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if someone, and I know I'm like that at times, whereas I don't matter if someone's firing questions at me because I just want to speak to people, get in the job. But then you do hit a point where you're like 50-50. I bet half of those people, you just say, if you move to application, then this is a fee. And we did that. And that really, that removed a lot of people's time. And the ones who did waste your time, well, they pay waste your time.
I'm certainly, I wouldn't say I'm at that level just yet. It's still something that I can keep up with and manage, but I do very much anticipate hitting that level at some point this year, for sure. Hopefully, if I carry on the trajectory that I very much plan on heading on, I do plan on hitting that level this year. And I know that there are things that I need to implement, and I know that I'll have to change, not say the structure of my business, but how my business operates to make sure that I'm channeling those leads in a better way. Because I've spoken to people on TikTok as well. I have 100,000 plus followers, and they said the same. They said they've had to completely rechange the structure of their business to fit with TikTok, essentially.
Massively. It's a wonderful lead source, but it is, as you say, so it's casting nets really far and wide, and then you need to have everybody I know who's doing very well on TikTok who's doing well both, as you say, with views and with business levels, has some form of very slick automation pre-qualification process, HANA type list. They've all got that. The ones who don't, it very much clogs up the system. And but not at the beginning, but as you say, as you get to the point, and it's similar with YouTube. Alex Kerr, who's like a good friend of mine, a YouTube mortgage broker, and it's exactly the same thing. He had it with his when his YouTube channel took off. He was like, he had his Calendly link. This is another thing you can be careful with. He had his Calendly link, and he said, I just had the link. And he said, and I just assumed, as we would do as brokers. And he was like, you just go, if you want to speak to me, fine. He said, and then the channel took off. And as the channel took off, he said, people wanted to answer questions and stuff. And he said, and there was no end date on the link. So I just woke up one day and was like, oh, I'm busy today. I'm busy tomorrow. I'm busy. And then he said, now you look at my diary. And I was like, when am I not busy? And then he looked and he said, I'm like 5 months out. Like people are booking, and there was no time for any existing clients. And he was like, this is a mistake. And most of them weren't ready to go because in the nature of YouTube or TikTok, it's a similar thing. These people are finding you, and then they want to just get more access to you, really. I've found it myself. You can't get discovery calls with me now unless I have spaces. Because and even that you have to book in a chat. And I hate being like that, but it's when you realize that what people were doing was going, some people, not all, but some people will go, oh, I'll get a free session with him. It's normally hundreds and hundreds of pounds, but I'll get a free session if I do that and not come. And I had a few people who'd come every 6 or 7 months and be like, I'm interested in working with them. And you go, oh, okay. And and that's when you start to be the thing that you'll absolutely get, is as you start to get more and more variety, more and more people will start to take advantage, which is weird though, but it's a good problem to have.
It is. It is, and it's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because, like I said, it's a good problem to have. It's also good to still help people, even if they're not positioned to work with you right away, because as much as they may not be in the right position right now, they may very well be in the future, and they may well come back and use you in the future.
They probably will for you. In your case, they probably will. They definitely.
But also, if you've helped someone, knowing full well that they're not actually going to work with you right there and then, and you still go out your way to help them, if they have a friend or family member who is now ready, they'd be like, look, I've just spoken to James Cox. He was super helpful. I'd strongly recommend him, even though we're not positioned to use him right now. He was really good with us, really knowledgeable, blah, blah, blah. I'd recommend you use him. So those people still leave as someone who would potentially recommend people to you. But obviously, like we discussed, there's only a certain volume of people that you can physically do that with. I've already, since I set up that Candy link, which was much to my dismay, I probably only did it like 2-3 months ago. I should have done it. I should have done it way earlier. I was really slow to sort that out. Shame on me. But even since I set out 2-3 months ago, I've had to reduce the booking time slots twice already. Because I do have clients, I do have a job to do. I am a mortgage and protection advisor first, before on social media second. I've had to reduce the time slots a couple of times already, and to be honest with you, I'm probably going to reduce it again, because also it's there's that trying out phase, isn't there? I got to make sure that it fits around my working patterns, and I'm only going to really know the true answer to that once I've actually worked with it, once I
You'll
actually
find
start
yourself, you'll get yourself,
integrating.
yeah, you will find yourself like I'm in a very similar point to you. About November, so we're recording this in January, so it comes out in a couple of months, but when we're recording this, like in November, I had a similar thing where all of a sudden I just looked at my diary and was like, I don't have enough. Because with me, people work and they work on a like a retainer. So it's this idea of,
Yeah,
I was like, I have to be able to facilitate the hours they buy. And so I was looking at, I was like, I'm not going to be able to do that. Like with
yeah,
everything else, well,
yeah,
not that. I was like, on this trajectory, I'm
yeah,
not going to be able to do that.
yeah,
And what I liked, and exactly what you said, because we're from a very similar background, we're both from fitness, we both,
yeah,
is, but also
yeah,
it was this idea of, I remember my brain, and this is where you have this funny year transition, which was my brain was wired to the grind of it. So you're like Rocky on the come up. So all of a sudden it's like, I want to do it. I want every lead, every this, every that. It's the hard work. It's the hard work. It was the early mornings. It's the,
yeah,
and that scarcity mindset of I don't want to miss this lead. So every discovery call I take, everything, there'll be someone in there, they've just started, they've got no budget. And I'm like, no worries, I'll talk to you for an hour. Because I wanted to help them.
yeah,
But then it was a hard, like a real hard decision of I can't. Like I can't. And then you say, you look and go, you can't do it. And if you don't, if I continue down the path, it's the school gonna fall down. And I had
yes,
to go. And that's when the
correct,
waiting list came out. And I
yeah,
remember having to cancel a load of appointments, discovery calls. And people got quite annoyed.
yeah,
And I spoke to some of them and I said, what would you want? Would you want me to sit on a call with you for an hour and say to you that I promise you all these things you can do, and then say to you, there's a chance that I can't work with you for a year? So
yeah,
you tell me to fuck off. I was
yeah,
like, you've got to, and I think
yeah,
that's the hard, but that was probably one of the hardest decisions, like the moments of my own business. And I've seen it in brokers all the
yeah,
time. And I've seen it
yeah,
with clients, and I've seen it with people, friends, and you're
yeah,
definitely on that path
yeah,
if
yeah.
it's inevitably coming.
As much as I am not there just yet, I am.
You're probably closer than you.
I'm already very conscious that might be on the horizon.
You're probably
Um,
there quicker than you probably are. What I would say with that from my own experience and from seeing others is that we are there. I was probably there in August, and the November is when I actioned it. Like it was,
yeah,
you don't, and everyone I've spoken to, it's only, you are normally this, like you're probably there or on the cusp,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
it's that fear of we don't, as humans, we just don't action until it's like
yeah.
inevitably the road is
Well,
about to
yeah,
fall off.
I react to things as opposed to
Yeah, we
you
all
know,
do. And
yeah,
I think that was it. It's if I look at it and go, you probably, like you say now, like I'm growing, I'm doing this. It would be like the ideal thing to do that, but that doesn't mean we'll do it, because no one will. I don't know a single
yeah,
person who does. You'll do it until
yeah,
it's like, because there's always that fear, just exactly like you nailed it right at the beginning of this, about having a job. And you look
yeah,
back now and you're like, I had that second job, and actually my income just should have left
yeah.
it ages ago. But
Ages ago,
actually,
yeah,
you don't, because we don't do it until you get to the point where, I can definitely do it. But actually, if you left it
yeah,
earlier, it's exactly the same thing. But
yeah.
it doesn't mean that we do it. Some of these, like me saying, I'm saying this to people who listen to this to say that I make the exact same mistakes,
Oh
like
yeah, we
all the
all do.
time.
All do. So I'm so fascinated with like human behavior, and we're all, as much as there are obviously at the extreme ends there are key differences between people, but really at the core of it, we all behave the exact same to things. We're all very
Yeah.
similar. So what,
You won't
what
make a change till it's a necessary change. That's the
yeah,
thing.
we tend to react to things,
Yeah.
even if we know what's on the horizon.
Yeah.
We still wait till the, excuse my French, shit hit the fan before we react to things.
Yeah.
Even though we know it's going to hit the fan, we
Yeah.
still wait till it has.
That's just human nature, because it's
Yeah,
easier to go, it might not happen. This is a
yeah,
definite. So it's
yeah,
like not
exactly.
happen, but right
And now
now we're
it's
definite.
happening.
Now and then it's
Yeah,
not, and then it has happened. And the weird one is when it's, and this is something you'll be going through, either going through now or not, or like we definitely in the future. You will have this year. It's when things are happening that are causing you stress, but they're from success. That's a
yeah,
weird feeling when you've always
yeah,
been like, so like now when it's like growing and it's, this is great, but I don't really know how I'm going to facilitate it or how I'm
yeah,
going to,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
very different, and then you get,
I know that's where I am. I'm at a stage now where I'm like, if I continue on the trajectory, which again, I hope so, and I very much intend to
I
do.
can't see it slowing.
Yeah, and it is in the next couple of months, potentially maybe even sooner. It will just start to get on top of me, and I don't want to become overwhelmed over it, because what's always been key for me in any job that I've had, in any industry that I've been in, I'm such a stickler for customer service, right? I hope I provide that customer service. And even when I encounter it on a day-to-day basis, again, I think we spoke about this before, but whether I'm buying a coffee or checking into a hotel or whatever I'm doing, I'm in a shop buying something, I'm in a restaurant, whatever it is, if someone gives me bad customer service, it irritates the hell out of me and I hate it. I always try and give good customer service. And if it starts to become overwhelming, the biggest fear for me is that I can't keep up with it. So then the perception is that I'm no good at my job, or I spoke to James, or he didn't even get back to me, or customer service is terrible, blah blah blah. That's my biggest fear, that I start to get feedback like that, because that is absolutely not what I'm about. And I like to think I'm about the complete opposite of that, which is being responsive, helping people out, delivering good customer service, being approachable and contactable within reason at any hour. And I want to be the sort of safety net throughout the whole journey, whether we're doing mortgages or protection or both or whatever it may be. So one of my big fears is it becoming overwhelming with leads, with appointments. Because even at the start, when I sent that candy link, again, just the teething period, especially coming to December, you have things planned. Multiple things planned. And it didn't occur to me that if I had planned to do something on a Friday evening with friends, I've got a bloody 6:30 appointment candy link for Friday evening. So I'm coming up to the Friday morning.
Diary.
Yeah, so I come up Friday morning and someone's booked in for 6:30 p.m. that night. I'm thinking, oh no, I didn't cancel it. And now that first impression of me is that I'm a bit of a numpty.
Yeah.
So I've then got to contact that fresh new inquiry and say, look, I'm really sorry. But I'm just honest with it. I say, look, I'm really sorry. I've only just set this candy link and I've been a bit of numpty and I haven't cancelled 6:30 tonight. When I'm out, I won't lie and say, oh, I'm already an appointment. I'll just be like, look, I've arranged something. So apologies. Can we rearrange this? So even just doing those little things, just to make sure that, but that made me very much aware that it can very easily, I could very easily start to an unorganized, fool, to be honest.
Oh, you can quite, like, people, whenever people look, like, my diary's around like military, like I have the same times. It's super, super strict. And that's because I'm coming into my 5th year of doing this. It's not my first rodeo. Like, I've done all that
100%.
and I've done that. You open the calendar link, don't set any times, open the diary, and then it's like back to back and you think, what is going on now? It's very much, it's not though, there's other problems, new problems come up, but
of course, always
is. You say, then that's something that I has been a struggle I've had, and I know it's a struggle many advisors have, so I'll just dive into it with you there. But it's this idea of scaling versus being more true to the type of service you want to have. So that's very hard, because there's a lot of talk about get bigger, go bigger. And I was actually saying this recently, like with me, like I have the same, and one of my clients, I was saying like mine, I was like, I get you with that service level. I completely, so I love one-to-one, like I love what we're doing now, like conversations. And I love getting to know my clients on a very personal level and to understand. So when I'm thinking about stuff, when I'm not with them, I'm like, that would be like with you, for example, it's not a pitch, there's no space or anything. What I'm saying is, if I was you, I'd be like, I know how James thinks. I know that this would be a really good way of taking his personality and putting it into this different idea. That's impossible the more people you have. And I've seen that. And I think there's an element of that, though, that kind of artist work, which is very similar to what you do with mortgages, is it's like getting to this point where you're like, if you want it to go bigger and make more and more, you're going to lose that. And I had to make a decision about a year ago, which was, my decision was like, I'm just going to be one-to-one like that. And that was because it's my income is this level and it will be capped by whatever I charge people. But I'm not going to be able to scale in the way that everyone else does. And I think, and I've said to brokers, it's the same thing. If you want to have that lifestyle business and be able to, like, and I love what you're saying about like your daughter, looking after your daughter, like that type of stuff, then that comes with, you are sacrificing the large businesses. And which means when you see online and people are like, grow to £1 million, those are good for lots of people. They're not good for everyone. And I think it's knowing that. And that's hard, because into yourself, you're not that. Not saying you, but me, it was like that. I was like, I'm not that guy.
I'm not that. I'm not that. I think we maybe touched on that on our first podcast, whereas I don't want to work every hour under the
No,
sun. I don't. I don't. That success to me isn't just a bank statement, okay? Yes, I want to be successful in my business, but even within the realms of my business, again, success isn't just my earnings, it's how I work with people. It's being regarded
Mhm.
as someone who's good to work with, who's an expert in their field. It's producing good content, it's producing content that people want to watch. That's just within my business realm. And then within the rest of my world, it's being able to put my family first when they need me. It's been able to spend time with my family still. It's been able to go to the gym 5 times a week, because I would always have to do that.
Yeah, no, I'm with
And
you.
I don't say the word I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
I
Oh, I get
have
that.
to do that. Okay, I
Yeah.
have to, and I will do until the day I die. The gym has been the biggest consistent in my life out
You
of the
said that
whole
on
of
the
my
last
life.
one. Yeah, last
Yeah,
time. You said
right.
that it changed your
So
life. I remember you saying before
yeah,
when you found
yeah,
it.
and yeah. And I've joked about it even since I started the gym 15, 20 years ago. If I didn't go to the gym, I'd kill somebody. It's that important to me for my physical health, for my mental health, in every aspect, to have the energy and focus and clarity to do my job well, to hopefully be a good fiance, to hopefully be a good father. It's integral to my life. My life will never, ever just be 100% business. I know personally a lot of people, well, I say a lot of people, I know personally a handful of people who've been very successful in their jobs, and they
Mm,
are earning 7 figures, but they're working 60 hours a week,
yeah.
right? If not more.
Yeah.
They have very little interaction with their family. And yes, okay, they've got beautiful cars on their drive, they've got a beautiful home, but so what? At the end of the
I
day,
agree.
so what?
It is a life you
So
get. I think that's a really like that. Like I'm with you on all of it. So me and my wife wrote down when we did this, like when we did this business and it started to take off, especially
yeah,
when it started to take off. When it was like in the beginning, it was like trying to, is this even a thing? When I so
yeah,
like I was like one of the first, it was like me and Gary Das, one of the first people to do this. So it was like trying to peddle something that like go, this thing that you don't know exists or didn't even know you wanted or did you, I think you want it. Now it's obviously people want it and there's people like you who are doing
yeah,
stuff and it's becoming more and more things. But when
yeah,
that kind of changed about 2 years ago, and but when it started to take off, that we very much had to anchor ourselves back to like, why did we do this? And
yeah,
I went self-employed, so I worked in a corporate company, and I was like, I
yeah,
want to when I have kids, I've got 2 kids, and I was like, when I have kids, I want to be around. That's it. I was like,
yeah.
that was it. I said, I
Oh
want to
yeah,
be around.
congratulations, by the
Yeah, it's
way.
recent. Yeah, like she's
Yeah,
6 weeks when I'm doing this,
yeah,
but it was like
wow,
I want to be around. That was it. That
yeah,
was the number one thing. I was like, I want to be able to wake up and have breakfast with them, take them to school. I want to be able to be at dinner at 6 o'clock and sit with
yeah,
them. And I
yeah,
wanted to be able to come in and out through have lunch with them. Have
yeah,
after this recording. So as soon as I'm going in to have ice cream with my son, that's what we're going
yeah,
to do.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And we
yeah,
do
yeah,
that every Thursday, and that's our thing. And it's to
yeah.
get to this point where, and I said this to my wife, I was like, this is worth more money than 2 more clients, 5 more clients, 10 more
Oh,
clients.
100%.
And you have to, and I love that you have
Yeah.
that thing, but it's also hard to sometimes to remind. I was saying it in this call, but it's also hard to you have to remind yourself that in the times when that very lucrative carrot is being hung in front of you, it is very hard. There are times like we'll look and go, oh yeah, I could buy a Tesla. And you're like, yeah, well, if I
Yeah,
bought a Tesla, and I know we probably could, but it's yeah,
yeah,
but if I buy a Tesla, then I could. And you
yeah,
do get this thing of like,
yeah,
or like someone goes, oh, I want to work with you. And I had a couple of clients who were like waiting list, and they were like, these people on the prospects, and they were like, we'll pay you double. I said, no. And they said, we'll pay you triple. And I was like, and then my wife, was, no, like you've got,
yeah,
and that's hard.
yeah,
It's no
yeah,
different. It's
yeah,
easy in theory to not eat bad food and exercise. It's very
yeah.
hard in practice.
To implement it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. And funnily enough, a couple of key points is I've said for years I really want a Tesla.
Me
Funnily
too.
enough, for years I've been saying I've always been like, yeah, I'm definitely going to get a Tesla at some point. I just think they're great. But the more money I've earned,
Probably less you want.
the less I want to spend, the less I want
Yeah.
it, the less I want to spend it. I'm not interested. And then going back to the sort of the family, and I guess the influence of the wife or fiance in my case is obviously 2023 was great for me, specifically the last 6 months, because that's
Yeah.
when I was all in and I got rid of the part-time job and my revenue, like literally overnight. It wasn't even like I stopped in June and it took till August till the decent money
Just
came in. It
straight
was
up.
like instantly shot up,
Yeah.
which meant evening appointments, a lot more evening appointments, and meant being on the phone up until 8, 9, even 10 p.m. at night sometimes, setting up protection policies or doing fact finds, only 2, 3 times a week. And then the rest were day appointments. But even then, and I sat down and spoke with Jenna at the end of the year, and I was like, this year's been good, and I really want it to grow again next year. I want to carry on this trajectory. I'm not at the level I want to be yet. And the very first thing she said to me wasn't about the extra money, blah, blah. She said, you already work enough in the evenings as it is, so I don't really want you to work too much more than what you're already doing, which is a fair enough response as far as I'm concerned. I completely understand it, because Jenna still works full time. We have a 21-month-old, nearly 22 months, and it's very demanding. We're getting into the terrible twos. So I still cook dinner every single night.
Yeah.
So I still need that time to do that. Like mentioned, I have to go to the gym, so I still make time to do that. And then I make my content. That takes up an hour and a half a day, maybe 2 hours a day. So it's still very busy. Now, don't get me wrong, from where I am now, I can still take on more clients. I can still do more business and still have the work-life balance that I want. So I know there's still some room there. But like we've discussed, it could be a couple of months before I'm just inundated.
Yeah.
And I just need to make sure that I have the structure in place, the things in place to make sure that I don't lose the service that I aim to give to everybody, but also lose that work-life balance.
James, I'm going to have to wrap this on up. So I got me ice cream date. But what I realized
Oh, yes, do it.
is that, what I realized is, like I said, what I want to say is we'll bring you on again this time. I'm going to put you in my diary, this time next year. Let's just keep doing updates, mate, because I think what you're doing is brilliant. And I think it's really good. It's really good to share for listeners and the people who listen to the show to go like what you're doing year on year and seeing that. And what I've loved about this conversation is I love the honesty of like genuinely what is happening, what the highs, the lows, and we're seeing it in real time, because you are a success story happening, but you are going to be, in my opinion, it's you doing all the right things in all the right ways. And so it will just going to keep compounding, but it's wonderful to see it in real time. So I think it'd be great to get you back on.
You're putting pressure on me now to perform every year.
Hey, you got to do it every year.
Making me accountable.
I'm watching you. I'm watching. I watch you every day. I'm making sure. So not on TikTok, because I can't stand that platform, but I don't mind it. But all I do is get mortgage brokers. So it's just like, when you see a million with a base rate on that on shoot, but the day when the base rates change, I just hibernate.
I update on the base rate, and even I don't want to watch the other base rate update.
There's a million,
videos.
but and for me, if you think all of my clients are brokers, so and my prospects, so everybody I'm following is all, and so it's base rate, and I'm just like,
even my algorithm on TikTok is just other UK mortgage advisors.
Yeah, it will be. Because it can't like figure out the difference. I love it.
Yeah,
James, mate, if you want to learn more about you, where's the best place for them to go?
Learn more about me, TikTok and Instagram. The handle is exactly the same, which is JC Mortgage Advice. Yeah, I've got a Candy link in there, which I'm using much better than I did a couple of months ago.
So if you're a broker, go and just book in and have a chat.
Yeah, just look and have a chat, have a chinwag. No, but yeah, TikTok, Instagram, tickle the follow button, chat me a DM, we'll have a chat. Actually, just very quickly before I do go,
mate, of course.
One of the other really good things that I experienced last year in having a bit of growth in social media was actually a lot of mortgage brokers reaching out to me, DMing me, and then just sort of becoming friends in all intents and purposes, sharing good practice, helping each other out. I have a group chat with a couple of other mortgage brokers, in financial advisors, investment in pension advisors. They seem to all be based in Ireland, funnily enough. But yeah, we have our own little group chat. We share good practice all the time. We help each other out all the time. So that community feel amongst mortgage brokers has been great, because I do work from home almost exclusively now. So it can be quite lonely, isolating job. So it is, because I'm not walking into an office with other mortgage brokers every day. So it's great to talk. So all joking aside, if you're in a similar position, do DM me, do have a chat. I'm always happy to chat.
Love it, mate. Thank you so much for coming on the show, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.